Everybody, it's Carol Billing, and I'm super excited to show you Common Curriculum. I just found this at the end of last semester and immediately felt like my dreams have been answered. Um, it's it's such a great way to plan your curriculum. I think it's fantastic. So let's go in and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You're going to set up your account. Make sure you use your UIdaho email. And I'm actually going to add your email so that you can see my lesson plans and make comments on them. And we're going to want to make comments on each other's. Um, it might be that I need to make a group. I will get more into that as the semester goes, but initially I want you to get in here and check it out because it's pretty fantastic. Okay, so it was so good. I learned about it in December that I immediately said I'm using it for all my spring classes. I'm making all my spring classes from scratch because this is my first semester teaching all of these classes for UIdaho. It's my first year at UIdaho. So last semester I had 3 new classes. This semester I have 4. One is a 1 credit, so it's not too bad. Anyhow, when you log in, you pick your. Sorry, let me go back real quick. When you come in, you pick your plan book. And the nice thing about this is when I go to teach next spring, I literally just copy this plan book over to the new year and then edit as needed. So, yay. Great. Okay, so I'm going into spring, and so I'm teaching 4 classes: retail marketing and econ, personal finance, career guidance, and CTSO, supervising CTSOs. So each course has a different color at the top, which helps figure out where you should be. And you know what? I'll just use this video in all 4 classes. So we're going to look at the first class that's on here because I've done the most work on it. But when you go find your class, just scroll down, you'll find it. And so you can look at your lessons in day, week, month view, or there's a unit planner. I'm going to show you that in a minute. I'll show you on the weekly one. Because our class is online, I've just set up classes on Mondays only. So I have it set up that I don't, you know, so you can see weekly, I don't have anything on any of these other days. Everything is just stacked on Monday, which is essentially the first day of our weekly unit or whatever. Take a look at monthly so you can see where it says classes are off except for on Mondays. And I haven't built out everything. I'm just got the beginning part, first 2 weeks done. Okay, unit planner. This is probably one of my favorite things because you can take a class and you can start figuring out what you're going to cover and how long. So I know I'm going to do retail basics for the first couple of weeks. The tech overview is the first 2 weeks where we're just getting everybody on the same page with whatever technology we're using. Where's my bottom? Okay. Where's the rest of my week? Okay, I can't find my scroll bar, but it's normally at the bottom. Might have something to do with why I'm videotaping, but anyway, you keep going down there and each one of these is the daily lesson plan. So if you click on that, it takes you to the day, shows you right here what you're doing that day. So you can see, those of you who are already teaching, probably like already, because that's how I was like, oh. So you would go there and you see the lesson plan for that day. So if you were teaching every single day, you would have circles all the way across, and then all of these would be built. And we're going to take a look at those lesson plans individually in just a minute. Okay, going across the top, we're here in Lesson Unit Planner. Standard Tracker allows you to see if I can navigate this correctly. You know, I always navigate it actually right here from the unit plan. And from day, this is kind of my home spot where you normally go. When I'm going here to add standards, you would click on it, and then you can see it has state standards already loaded in here. Oh, amazing. So here's Idaho. Here's CTE. I don't know what they've got. Oh, okay, they've got a few of them. If they don't have something, you can add it. So you write the standards in, and then you submit it to have them review it, and then they approve it and put it in. So there's that. Those are the Idaho ones that they have. If you go back, you've got Common Core up here if you need to align to that. We've got our CTE standards, but it looks like we need to get them entered, which is kind of a bummer. But let me look. I'm just looking down here for career. Yeah, that's okay. We teach in Australia. You're all dialed in. Okay. So anyway, that's where your standards are. So let's, for example, say you're going to you're going to teach across the curriculum. So you could pull in standards here, right? And then also add in your CTE standards, which always principals love that. Mine used to get so excited because I would teach across the curriculum, which to me was common sense, but he thought it was great, and I was always so surprised by that. Why wouldn't I teach English when I'm teaching technology? It's kind of the same. It's embedded. Anyway, so for now, standards aren't there, but we can work on, I might even be able to get a work study person to put those standards in for us. Let me just show you the first week here in retail. And it's actually going to be the same across all the classes I teach because I want to get everybody on the same page. I love this lesson plan because the first thing I do is, and I made this template, by the way. You can copy the template or take it, modify it, make it your own. But I think it has all the most important parts. And so I love it because I sit down and I think, okay, what do I want them to learn this week? And I put that in the objectives. And so if this was a daily lesson, it would have a heck of a lot less objectives. If you're teaching 50 minutes, you're going to have like one objective or two. But anyway, because it's a whole week in one, I have several. And so those are my objectives. And then I love that I put the outcomes right below the objectives because the outcomes say, how am I going to measure that the objectives have been met? And that's important because that's how you demonstrate what you're teaching is students are getting it. And when an administrator comes in your classroom, that's what he or she wants to know. Like, what are you teaching? How are you measuring it? And everything has to be measured. It can't just be, well, I'm, listening to them talk when we do a group discussion. Like, yes, that's one way to assess, but it's so soft. Like, you've got to have some harder kind of verification that they're getting it. So I love this because the first thing I do is think about what am I want to teach? Second thing, how am I going to measure it? So you can see here how I've aligned them. I'm not going to read it. You can take a look at that more later. Try not to make this video terribly long. But anyway, once you have those objectives set, then you go here to procedures and you think, how am I going to teach this? So in an online, especially this first week, it's a lot of videos. But if you were coming to my class for the first class, you always end up talking a lot that first class because you're going over all the basic stuff, trying to get everybody calibrated and on the same page. So essentially, that's what these videos are doing. I've engaged where I'm going to walk you through some of the core areas, the 4 core areas of the course. Then explore, explain, where I'm going to introduce new things, Common Curriculum, Quizlet, Snip, make sure you know how to snip, Google Form, and Slack. And then the independent practice is just a list of these are the ways you're going to go out and sort of experience these new tools I'm showing you. Extension, excuse me, is where I ask you to think more deeply about how you're going to incorporate these in your teaching, either current or future. And that's sort of embedded within the direct instruction videos. And obviously I just said it, so now you're thinking about it. So that's that. Signature assignment, at this point, we're just logging into TaskStream and selecting your program of study, which is CTE. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. So that's, I always want to make sure that I'm working towards getting those signature assignments done every single week. The deliverables is very cut and dry. What are the students turning in? So this week you'll do 2 things. You'll do your syllabus quiz and you'll do your week 1 deliverables Word document. And I go through that in the Blackboard tour video, explain that. And then the deadline I put on there in the deliverables. Modifications is really more for a classroom teacher, but I wanted to leave it in there for you guys to add, for you all to add. Try not to say you guys because it's too informal, but anyway. Modifications are going to come into play with face-to-face more so than online because you have your kids who can't sit still. So how are you going to address that? You're going to have kids who have trouble focusing. How are you going to address that? You're going to have kids that are excelling, they're getting through the content faster. How are you going to address that? So you never have a classroom where everybody's in the same spot. It's always a wide, wide range. So talk about how you're going to address the wide range of abilities. And that modification section might be the same on every single lesson plan because, this is how I do it every day when I have my kids. At least I sort of had some go-to ways. Okay, reflections, that would be something I'd add um, after I taught the lesson. And then materials web link, I love this because it's going to copy on every lesson plan. And so it will list your textbooks, every lesson plan, and it will list the links that you use for this class, every lesson plan, with pertinent information like in Slack. We have a private channel for each class. And so that'll be listed there. So you can remember, oh, Slack, okay, where do I go? What do I do? There's no, it's not on the student to try to remember the details of, especially when you have something new like Slack, because I don't think most people use Slack. Although once you use it, apparently it's so great that you'll never want to not use it. And the teachers that I listened to at the National ACTE conference in Nashville last December, they were all over it. The high school teachers were all using Slack. So I immediately was like, oh my gosh, okay, I got to learn this and teach this to you. So that's it. And then you can go down and look at your individual class if you're not in my retail class. But that's kind of an overview on the lesson plan here. I'm super excited about it because each one of these sections, um, you can move it, you can attach files, you can move it, you can show it on the class website. I mean, all of these options are for every section of the, well, they're called cards within the lesson plan. You can copy the card to the next day. You can push it to the next day. Forget where the push is. Maybe that's copy. Anyway, and then I'm going to save this. I mean, it's just so easy to cut and paste it. I'm just so excited about it. So anyway, enough of me gushing over this website. 12 minutes is more than enough. Thank you for your attention. Don't feel overwhelmed. Go in here and play around with it for a while. And it takes about 10 times of going in and out of it to really feel comfortable navigating. But if you start with the lesson planner day, and then my classes are always on Mondays, that's how you're going to be able to find your class on Mondays. Okay, cool. I'm hoping you like it as much as I do and you find it valuable. I'll see you soon.